Welcome to Update on CCI News. I'm Jacob Gillard. Leading the news today, Liberal MP Tony Smith has been elected as a new parliamentary speaker following Bronwyn Bishop's resignation over the growing expenses scandal. Early favourite Philip Ruddock ended up not nominating himself, and Smith won the final stage of the elimination process against Russell Broadbent, 51-22. 2 weeks on from the murder-suicide of Bathurst businessman Ellie Issa and his partner Nadia Cameron, the Bathurst community are still feeling the effects of the shocking turn of events. The community has banded together in recent days to discuss the horrific episode and help one another with the grieving process. We cross live now to Kate Nielsen, who has more on the issue.
Thanks, Jacob. The bodies were discovered here on the 17th of July at Mr Issa's property in Kelso, just a few houses up from where I'm standing right now. Police were called to the scene after neighbours heard some suspicious noises coming from the house, and a family member was the one to make the shocking discovery.
Kate, has there been any confirmation as to the reason behind the shooting?
Police are yet to confirm the exact details of this murder as of yet. However, there are speculating reports that this could have happened due to the breakup of the couple. The pair had been in a relationship for the last 4 years, and 3 weeks prior to the murder, Nadia Cameron had broken off the relationship. Friends say she was unhappy in this relationship.
Has there been official confirmation that Mr Issa did in fact shoot his partner Nadia Cameron?
Chifley Local Area Command are hesitant to name this as a murder against Nadia Cameron. However, we can confirm that there were multiple bullet wounds to the body of Miss Cameron, where there was only one single bullet wound to Mr Issa. We can also confirm that there was a bullet hole through the lounge room window of Mr Issa's property, and a firearm was located between the bodies of the deceased.
Any word how this tragedy has affected the local community of Bathurst?
Sources that were in surrounding local businesses at the time have said there was an outpour of grief as the news quickly made its way through town. Both Mr Issa and Miss Cameron had children from previous marriages, so we can only imagine the devastation that their families are feeling at this time.
Yes, I can imagine the community is in shock after such a loss. We will leave you there. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Jacob.
An application for a go-kart track at the top of Mount Panorama has been received by Bathurst Council and is awaiting approval. Bathurst Go-Kart Club has submitted plans to build a $450,000 track behind Brock's Skyline, which is currently the mountain's lookout. Jose Louis has more.
Right now, the mountain is a quiet place, sometimes occupied by the passing car or runner, while the track lies dormant. But in the near future, the top of the mountain could see racing on a weekly basis. The go-kart facility would be open 5 days a week for practice and host up to 9 race events a year. It is hoped that the track could also be used for other sports.
For racing, for practice, hoping that other clubs in Bathurst will be able to utilise as well, like the Push Bike Club.
The current application plans to build a go-kart track towards the back of McPhillamy Park, leaving the current playground and other facilities untouched. If approved, the 950-metre track would include a series of bends, several straights and a pit lane. The general public may even get their chance to have a hot lap on the top of Mount Panorama.
We will actually have days, try drive days, where we'll invite the public to come up to actually drive the go-karts.
The application will be talked over at a council discussion forum on the 5th of August. Jose Louis reporting for CCI News.
The first female soccer player to be featured on the cover of the annual FIFA video game has called the event a landmark for representation in both sport and media. Steph Catley, defender for the Matildas, appears alongside Argentina star Lionel Messi, as the video game becomes the first in a long-running series to feature female teams to play as. We're just receiving some breaking news here. It appears there has been a 3-car pile-up on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. There are believed to have been 2 fatalities, and traffic is currently being diverted from the scene. We'll come back to the story as it develops. Returning now to our scheduled bulletin, research from Carnegie Mellon University has revealed men are more likely to be shown high-paying executive jobs when searching online than women. Mayor of Lithgow, Marie Statham, says it's a shame that in an age where females are more visible than ever in high-profile positions, they're still being treated as less competent workers. Kate Nielsen has more.
Women comprise of approximately 45% of employees across Australia, yet they represent under 18% of CEOs nationwide and 27% of management positions within the country. When factors such as personal characteristics, occupation, industry experience and education are accounted for, the average graduate salaries for women in 2015 are still 4.4% less than their male counterparts. Lithgow's Mayor Marie Statham has held her position now for 3 years, and she says that it's not easy being a woman under the spotlight.
I think we have a cultural thinking about men in high positions. We now have more women, I think, looking at high-end jobs. Certainly the mayor's position is not a high-end paid position, but I guess it's trying to educate women to be whatever they want to be and believe in themselves, and we can achieve things that we weren't able to do in previous decades. I didn't have a great education, and yes, my position I'm in is very little pay connected to it, but you make a lot of big decisions. It's a challenging position, and I take it extremely seriously. And I think if you want to in your life have dreams of being a politician or being a female scientist or whatever you want to do, you have to acknowledge, especially if it's a position in the public, so that means Parliament or Council, you are putting yourself out there every moment that you breathe.
Kate Nielsen, CCI News.
New facilities for engineering at Charles Sturt University's Bathurst campus are soon to be completed and will be open to the first intake of students next year. Local residents were invited on a tour of the new buildings, which are still currently under construction. Jose Louis has more.
It doesn't look like much now, but this space will soon be home to the first engineering program west of the Blue Mountains.
So what we've set out to do is to build an engineering program that is different to other offerings that are out there.
The new engineering faculty will include the latest technology, encourage teamwork, and provide areas for students to practically build their ideas. This includes a collaborative learning hub, workshops, and a pitch zone for students to develop their public speaking and communication skills. The framework of the entrance to the building resembles the shape of houses children like to draw, to encourage students to make the facility their engineering home. The CSU engineering program has been designed to produce a new type of engineer. On top of engineering knowledge, students will also be given financial and management skills and will be able to communicate with people from all walks of life. CSU's engineering program will have room for 50 students and is hoping to build a diverse cohort including student engineers who are female, mature age, Indigenous and from regional areas.
And so our graduates, when they graduate, will have had around 6,000 hours worth of practical paid work experience before they graduate.
Jose Louis, CCI News.
And now to sport. The fourth Ashes test at Trent Bridge will begin tomorrow night, with both sides expecting another lively pitch. The third test at Edgbaston was played on a similar surface, with the Australians being knocked over well within 3 days. Following their disappointing performance in the third test, Australia's batsmen have been urged to toughen up and make the right decisions when they are facing heat from the opposing bowlers and crowd. Captain Michael Clarke is under particular pressure with his career on the line following a string of low scores with the bat. England will be without their main destroyer from the last match, with opening bowler James Anderson out with a side strain. Anderson is a big loss for the host, on the ground where he has taken more test wickets than any other player. In football news, the A-League clubs have kicked off their FFA Cup campaigns against teams from the lower tiers of Australian football. Melbourne Victory showed their class with a dominant 6-0 win over Balmain Tigers, and Melbourne City snuck away with a 2-1 win over Edgeworth FC, thanks to 2 amazing free kicks from Aaron Moy. In other FFA Cup results from last night, Sydney Olympic came away with a 1-0 win over Gungahlin United, and Sydney United beat South Hobart 3-1 on penalties following a dramatic 3-all draw in regular time. In tonight's FFA fixtures, we have Adelaide United playing away to Darwin Olympic, Sydney FC making the trip to Perth to play Sorrento FC, Croydon Kings versus Lions FC, and Rockdale City Suns against Perth Soccer Club. And that's today's Wrap of Sport. And that's also the latest for update at the moment. I'm Jacob Gillard. Hope to see you again soon.